The following is a paid program. Talk 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IBX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genois Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Hello and welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here with Jameson Taunton as well. Jameson made it back from the practice field. His son is now a little leaguer. They practice every day. It's a job. But it's
really
fun.
Is.
And it'll go by fast. Be where your feet are. Enjoy every moment because it'll be gone. Appreciate you joining us tonight. And as always, this is a listener participation program. Simply means that we'd love for you to call in with a question, anything that's important or pertinent to you personally. We'd love to chat with you about it. And if you call in with a question, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Antavola. I'll even pay the tip. And a great place to eat. And the number here is 561-TALK, 561-8255, 561-8255. We were not on the air last week. We were preempted for a Duke basketball game. The radio station has a contract and a contractual obligation to broadcast Duke basketball games, and they happen to have one last Thursday evening. So we were booted to the curb, but we're back. And I imagine most people are probably watching March Madness. We may have an audience of one or two out there, but who knows? No, you never know, really. Of course, we're on the radio, 103.7 FM, the 100,000-watt flame-throwing station. And we're also simulcast live on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Financially Speaking NC. And we're also on Facebook, on my personal Facebook. Just search Jim Taunton and you'll find it. A lot of ways to watch or listen. So do that. And stay with us during this break. It'll be about 2 minutes. And call us. It'll be even better during the break. And we'll take your call first when we come back. We do have some good information we put together, but it's always better if we're talking to you about something that is important to you personally. So call us, 561-TALK, 561-8255, 561-8255. We'll be back with you in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates. Low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton with Jameson here with you. No callers yet. Call anytime. Interrupt the monologue, please. 561-TALK, 561-8255. We'd love to try to answer your question. Welcome to the fog of war. We are in a war. It's, I think it's gone beyond just a military action. It's an all-out war, but really, Iran stands no chance whatsoever of coming out victorious. But they can cause a lot of distress, a lot of problems. They just blew up 17% of Qatar's liquid natural gas plants or production facilities. And that really hurts Europe and China more than it does the United States. We are actually energy independent, believe it or not. We are energy independent. We don't rely on any other country to produce our natural gas or our petroleum, for that matter. We actually export oil, which is incredible. But what that does is it hurts farmers. Jameson, I'll give you 10 points on the next quiz if you can tell me how the destruction of the natural gas facility in Qatar would hurt the farmers in the United States of America.
It's a good question. Have something to do with fertilizer?
Yes, it does. It really does.
Oh.
Yeah. A large percentage of nitrogen-based fertilizer comes from the Middle East, and it is directly derived from liquid natural gas. So fertilizer production has been totally disrupted, and this planting season that we're in right now is just bombed. So we're going to see inflation with food prices. There's no question about that. We're already seeing inflation, of course, with energy because of the disruptions of supply. But we're also going to see some inflation with fertilizer. So what I told you on this program in the last 6 months, you can just crumple it up, throw it in the trash can. Inflation is going to rear its ugly head again, somewhat, not nearly to the extent that we were. I mean, we were at 8-9% inflation rate, which is absurd. That's hyper. Not going to have that, but it is not going to stay down in the 2.5 and below range. And GDP is going to take a hit as well. I still think we might could hit 5% this year, GDP rate, but it's, we need to end this thing. It needs to be ended by Monday, actually. Would be really nice. And what put a chill in the markets today, Jameson, I don't know if you were aware, that Trump tweeted. Anytime he tweets, the markets shudder. And he tweeted that he was going to decimate the liquid natural gas fields in Iran after they disobeyed him and attacked the energy production in Qatar. And we really hope that doesn't happen. What we need to happen is to arm and provide assistance to the Iranians on the ground in Iran to rise up and take back their country. We don't want to occupy. We don't want to create a colony in Iran. We want them to have their own country and do it their way, but we want them to vote and have elections and put people in office that they want to put in office. And we don't want a theocracy running Iran. But we need something left of Iran, so they can enter back into global society. We don't want them to be completely destroyed in this thing. So I would certainly advise Trump not to decimate the liquid natural gas fields in Iran. Now, moving on to other topics. I've told you on this program many times that fodder for conversation, at least the monologue conversation on this program, comes from, in a large part, actual clients and cases that we are working on during the week. And I actually came up with 3 topics from actual cases in the last 7 to 10 days, which I wanted to talk about. And I actually asked Jameson to pull down some information on the first topic that I had in mind, because I have a client that made some comments to me about Social Security that made me know that he did not understand. And look, Jameson nor I are Social Security experts. I mean, if you want an expert, go to the Social Security Administration and talk to one of their people. We do have a working knowledge, and we do have a computer with Google on it. So we can find out some things, but definitely not experts. But I've done enough work with Social Security on behalf of clients to understand some things. And what people really don't understand about Social Security, one of the things, probably a dozen different things, is what causes Social Security to be reduced and what causes Social Security to be taxed. And they are 2 totally different issues. There are different factors that cause Social Security to be reduced and Social Security to be taxed. And so I asked Jameson to come up with some information. And Jameson, I'm going to let you go. Just proceed.
Yeah. So, like you said, we are certainly not Social Security experts or tax experts. Have a working knowledge, but we're for most clients we're part of a team. Working with accountants and attorneys and other financial experts to kind of help develop a plan for a client. But we can help answer questions as best we can. And Social Security is certainly one of those things that clients have a lot of questions about, especially when approaching retirement age, which is kind of around that same time where you can start claiming Social Security benefits. And then when we're helping develop retirement plans, Social Security is certainly a big part of that. For some clients, Social Security income is close to 100% of that income that they're getting in retirement. For other clients, it might be closer to, a quarter or a half of the income that they're getting. So it certainly does play a part in some of the decisions that we help clients make once they reach retirement age. 2 things that can cause some confusion are looking at the reduction of Social Security benefits and also the taxation of Social Security benefits. The reduction of Social Security benefits that you can claim comes from someone continuing to work while also claiming Social Security benefits.
Prior to full retirement age, right?
Yes. And let's see, let me find that. So what they refer to it as is the retirement earnings test. It's completely separate from the taxation portion, but it applies to individuals who are claiming Social Security retirement benefits before reaching their full retirement age and also continuing to work and earn a wage. So the standard reduction formula that the Social Security Administration uses is they deduct $1 from your benefit for every $2 you earn above the annual limit.
Which is?
So that formula, total earnings, you subtract the annual limit, and that's different for, let's see, let me try to find it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't have that annual limit here. But anyway, and then once you get to full retirement age, that limit changes, and the reduction in your benefit becomes $1 for every $3 earned above that higher limit. So they're recalculating the amount of Social Security benefit that you're receiving based off of the earnings above that annual limit that you receive.
And I believe the annual limit is around 44,000 for a married filing jointly couple, if I'm not mistaken. But again, what he was referring to there was the reduction of benefits. And I don't think after full retirement age there's any reduction for the amount of money that you make. What happens after full retirement age is a taxation of the benefit. Now, talk to us about the taxation of the benefit. What causes that to happen, and how much can it be taxed?
Yeah, and that just refers to the portion of your Social Security benefit that you're receiving that is applicable to be taxed. So that's based off your combined income, which the amounts are different for single filers, head of household, married couples filing jointly. So, with clients, we certainly get into specifics about the dollar amounts, but if you are within that range, whether single, filing jointly, whatever the case may be, if you're in that range, let's just talk about married couples filing jointly, just to have a number to talk about. So the threshold there is $32,000 to $44,000. So married filing jointly, if you are making within that range, you are eligible to be taxed up to 50% of your Social Security benefit. Now, if you are over that $44,000 income range, then up to 85% of your benefit can be taxable. And that's looking at your combined income.
Let me clarify there. I've given clients those percentages at some point, and they immediately think that we're talking about a tax rate, but it's not. It says if you're over 40, most people are going to be above 44,000. That's if they're fully a full retirement age or receiving any kind of pension, they're getting Social Security, they're drawing from their investments, and all of that adds into your AGI, adjusted gross income, and that's what's used, I believe, to determine that number.
Yeah, but, adjusted gross income, non-taxable interest, and half of your Social Security benefits.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting that for the reduction of benefits, which, again, if you're not at full retirement age and you're taking Social Security, that can happen. But you actually get a break in that they don't take tax-free income like from municipal bonds. You can remove that from your income in the calculation. But in any case, if you're over that 44,000, then it's 85% of the Social Security benefit that is taxed. So 85% of the benefit will be added to your income and taxed at your tax rate, whatever that is. You don't lose 85% of Social Security, and you don't get taxed at 85% rate. It's 85% of the Social Security benefit is taxed. That's the worst that can happen. So that means, let's say you're in a 25% tax rate with federal and state, just spitballing. You would lose 25% of 85%. So if you were drawing, let's say, $4,000 per month, 85% of that is going to be about $3,400. You would pay your 25% rate on that $3,400. So you would pay taxes on you'd pay a fourth of that in taxes. So that would be, about $800, $900 in that range. So it's punitive, but it's not a deal killer, so to speak. So you're still netting a whole lot more than you would have had you not been receiving Social Security. So there you go.
Yeah, and
anything else?
that the scenario where people reach the age where they can start receiving benefits but continue working probably doesn't happen that often. Maybe it happens a little bit more often than it did, 20, 30 years ago. But people just want to work longer nowadays. So, it doesn't happen all the time. I think you're one that falls into that crowd where obviously you're continuing working but taking some Social Security benefits. Yeah. I think majority of the time, and where this Social Security stuff comes into play is when we're helping clients look at their retirement income. And, some clients think more about the tax ramifications for certain actions more than others. But we have to look at kind of the effect of what we do when we're doing things like retirement account withdrawals, where all of that money is taxable. So how is that going to affect the tax bracket that they're in? If they're taking Social Security income, how it could affect that. So, it doesn't happen all the time, but it's something we consider. But I think in majority of the cases, we're telling clients, hey, if you're eligible for Social Security benefits, go ahead and get it so you can collect it for as long as you possibly can. But that isn't always the case, which is a case that we had, maybe a month or so ago. She was eligible to collect a benefit from a spouse that had deceased. And we were kind of comparing the amounts that she could get if she started now versus if she waited until, so 62 currently, maybe waiting until 65 or waiting until full retirement or full security retirement age, just comparing those amounts. And it actually made sense for her to wait and start taking that at a later date. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it is. Also, health comes into play. If we have somebody that's not of poor health, we certainly would advise in most cases to go ahead and start taking it so they can enjoy life as long as they have, at least a certain amount of good health. We have talked right through the mid part of the program. Producer, let's not take a mid-program break this time, if you don't mind. Just can it, and maybe we'll do it next week. I did want to share a little more trivia. Total oil consumption, or total oil consumed in the history of mankind. I get curious about certain things when I start researching topics. I was looking at the oil thing that's going on right now, and I just happen to think, how much oil have we actually consumed since man started consuming oil? Which was probably the early 1900s that we started consuming oil on a larger scale. Now listen to this, Jameson. You can share this at parties and impress people. The total oil consumed in history is 900 billion barrels of oil. Now, if you tell somebody they're going to fall out on the floor and foam at the mouth and the eyes will roll back in their head. It sounds like just so much. But a barrel is only a little over 40 gallons, right? And a lot of some cars will hold 40 gallons, especially big SUVs. But anyway, 900 billion barrels. And I got to thinking, well, what does that mean? If we've consumed 900 billion barrels, how does that compare to like a lake? The ocean. Would it fill the Pacific Ocean? And I did a little research. And all of the oil that we have consumed in the history of mankind is equal to 1.5% of the volume of Lake Superior. Think about that. 1.5% of the volume of Lake Superior is all the oil we have consumed since we've started consuming it. I just found that astoundingly low for me. I just thought it would be much higher than that. And right now, from the best that they can determine with the current technology we have about 90 years of oil left with the current technology that we have. There's probably much more than that down there. But right now, we can say that we have about 90 years of oil left. So I'm not going to worry about it, and Jameson's probably not going to worry about it, but my grandchildren, if nothing changes, if we don't have new technology that lets us pull oil from deeper in the ground or from different sources, or we create other energy sources, our grandchildren will have something to be concerned about. So I just found that interesting. Now, the two other cases that I looked at in the last 7 to 10 days, I had a gentleman who came to me. He called first, and then we scheduled a time. And he made an unusual request. He had an IRA. Let's see. Hold on. No. He had an IRA with me, fairly large one actually. He rolled the money out of his qualified retirement plan. He also had a fairly large non-qualified account, and then another smaller IRA. It was a substantial amount of money. And he said, "Jim, I want to withdraw all of my money." And, as a financial advisor, your first impulse is to say, why? What do you need it for? But you know what? I thought, this is his money. And he's obviously thought about this thing. And if he says he wants his money, he must need his money. And that's what we're going to do. So we printed the forms, and we were completing the withdrawal forms to get all the accounts evacuated, closed. And we just, in conversation, I said, called his name, and I said, how's your health? Have you had any diagnosis? I thought maybe he got a diagnosis, and that was the reason. Well, come to find out, yeah, he did. His sister had died from a particular ailment, which I won't name. I'm not using names, but I don't want to also even talk about health issues on the radio. And, the gentleman thought he didn't have the same genetic problem because he was much older than the sister was when she died with it. But he started feeling a little something. So he went to the doctor and said, "Look, I want to be checked." And they checked him, and lo and behold, he did have the gene. And it's a terrible illness. It is a debilitating illness. And this gentleman wanted to get all his money out and enjoy it for as long as he could before, he started having some serious symptoms. And I said, "You know what, so-and-so, you're doing the right thing." And I know there are a lot of financial advisors out there that would have squawked. They're losing this money. They're making some change on this money that they're managing and whatever. No. I said, you're doing the right thing. You really are. You need to enjoy life while you can. And if all the listeners knew the illness that I'm talking about, they would agree with me. All right, the third thing we were going to talk about was charitable distributions, but I've got music in my ear, and I believe Jameson probably does too. And so we don't have time to talk about that one. Maybe we'll save that one for next week. But certainly hope you learned something. I bet Jameson learned something in doing his little bit of research.
I did. I used a new AI tool to
there you go.
Get more information.
Good old AI. And as always, this is Jim and Jameson helping you make all of your financial decisions good ones. Good night, everybody.
Good night.